Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Mag. I'm Cyrus Allen, and here with me is my wonderful co-anchor, Allie Monroy.
Aw, thanks, Cy. Well, the Buffs are doing great things this fall, and with Thanksgiving around the corner, I'm thankful we get to be the ones to share the news with you guys. Let's get started. The Colorado Buffaloes trounced the Arizona Wildcats in Tucson on Saturday, riding an offensive explosion to a 49-24 victory. Buffs quarterback Sefo Liufau threw 3 touchdowns, 2 of which going to wide receiver Shea Fields, while running back Philip Lindsay added 3 TDs of his own. The offensive outburst was a great sign for the Buffaloes, who had scored just 30 points in their last 2 games combined. The 49 points were the most the team had put on the board since a Week 2 matchup against Idaho State.
In a way, the game was a bit of a role reversal for the Buffs, as the defense, which had been carrying the team of late, struggled a bit. Arizona was able to amass 412 yards of offense against the Pac-12's top-ranked D, but it was that bend-don't-break mentality that kept the Wildcats from matching the CU offense when it came to the scoreboard. The blowout win keeps the Buffs atop the Pac-12 standings South as they continue to control their own destiny in the conference.
How does this sound? The top 10 Colorado Buffaloes. Yes, you heard that right. The College Football Playoff Committee released their third rounds of rankings on Tuesday night, and your Colorado Buffaloes are currently ranked 10th in the country. The ranking represents the Buffaloes' highest mark since 2002 under their then head coach Gary Barnett. What does it all mean? Well, it means that with 2 weeks left in the season, CU's hopes of grabbing a spot in the coveted college football playoffs are still alive and well. With both games left on the schedule coming against ranked teams and a potential third-ranked matchup looming in the conference championship game, the Buffs possess one of, if not the toughest schedules in the nation down to the stretch. Win out and CU will likely have the strongest 2-loss resume in the nation.
The University of Colorado Athletic Department has honored 12 new inductees into the CU Athletic Hall of Fame today. The Coors Event Center, the doors opened at 11:15 a.m. and the cost of the event was $10 per person and $4 per car. The cost included a plated lunch provided by the hosts, the Buffs' temporary team.
Head coach Mike McIntyre addressed the media this Tuesday following the team's practice. His focus was on Washington State throughout the entire press conference, but when asked whether this was his most exciting season as a coach, this is what he had to say.
These young men have been phenomenal, and yes, I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and we've got a lot left to do. The most fulfilling thing you get as a coach, my thought on it is, yeah, the wins are exciting, all that, but it's just to see those guys' eyes and see their faces and see them enjoying it and see them accomplish things that nobody thought they could accomplish. And when you get, not many times you get a chance in life to do something that nobody thinks you can do, and you might have even doubted it. And then you overcome doubt and you overcome fear. Woo! You can't teach a better life lesson than that, because they're going to face a lot of hard things in life that they're going to have to look it in the face and overcome it. So, when I look at that, I see those type of things happen, and that excites my heart. It really does.
Colorado Buffalo's outside linebacker Derek McCartney took the initiative and went out of his way to help someone in need last spring. 8 months later, he received news that his small gesture saved someone's life. McCartney participated in Mike McIntyre's community service Be the Match program, which is part of a nationwide effort that saves thousands of lives every year. The program matches blood donors with people who have been diagnosed with life-threatening blood cancers. McCartney's selflessness resulted in him being one of 25 college football players in the country to be named to the AFCA Good Works team. McCartney will attend the 2017 All-State Sugar Bowl in January to be honored at halftime with the entire Good Works team. Although, with the way things are trending, McCartney and his teammates may have other commitments in early January.
Honestly, the award is really cool. It's a great honor. The coolest part about it is really the reason I got the award, and I got to donate peripheral blood stem cells to a man with cancer, and recently received a letter that he's cancer free now, and it's just that's the most rewarding thing about it, is just knowing that someone just gets to extend life a little bit longer.
The top 10 Buffs will have their hands full this week as the number 22 ranked Washington State Cougars and their high-powered offense come to town. Here are 3 keys for the Buffs to send the Cougars packing. Number 1, Clark Falk. Washington State quarterback Luke Falk leads the Pac-12 in passing yards as well as completion percentage. If the Buffs are going to win this one, they're going to need to take Falk down and make him uncomfortable. Getting pressure on the quarterback will be paramount in this game.
Number 2, feed Phil. When the Buffs offense is at their best, they're feeding the ball to running back Phillip Lindsay. Lindsay, who leads the conference in touchdowns at his position, is just 63 yards away from eclipsing the 1,000-yard mark of the season. If the Buffs are going to win this one, look for Lindsay to pass that with ease. Number 3, rake the takeaways. The Buffaloes have created a turnover in an astonishing 23 consecutive games, but extending that streak won't be easy this week. Washington State ranks 7th in the country in turnover margin, only having given away the ball 10 times while creating 20 turnovers. The Buffs have also notched 20 takeaways on the year, so don't be surprised if the turnover battle decides this one.
Well, it's time for one of our favorite segments every week. It's a little something we called 60 Seconds with the Buff. Steve Nelson is out in the field, and although he's still caught up with the Buff, he's switched things up from the usual.
What's up, Buff fans? I'm Steve Nelson here, and I have this week's edition of 60 Seconds with a Buff. Now, instead of talking with an athlete like we usually do, I have Broncos beat writer and former CU student Ryan Koenigsberg here with me. He used to cover the Buffs, and that's what we're going to talk about today. For the first time in a long time, I believe it's about a decade, the Buffs are finally in the rankings, have cracked the top 20 and the top 10. So tell us about the home stretch of the season.
Everything is ahead of them. They've done great to this point, but the ability they have to control their own destiny into a Pac-12 championship game, to win that game, and really the hope of going to the college football playoff is still alive. And the ranking, to me, is special for this team. They've worked so hard. But really this whole season, to me, is most special for the fans, because as much as those guys have been through, those players, and they've been through a lot and fought through it, this fan base hasn't seen anything in 10 years.
During your time covering the Buffs, you were obviously living in Boulder. You've since moved out. What's the one thing you miss about Boulder the most?
You try not to take it for granted when you live here. You could leave for a month. You come back and you realize that you took it for granted.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for 60 Seconds with a Buff. I'm Steve Nelson. That's Ryan Koenigsberg. Back to you guys at the desk.
I know we've been talking a lot about football, but how could we not? The top 10 Colorado Buffaloes, that sounds pretty nice. So with that theme in mind, our question of the week is a throwback to the good old days, and it may require some additional research. The question is, which former Buffs quarterback who will call this weekend's game on Fox was a walk-on freshman the last time that the Buffs were a top 10 team? We'll give you that answer at the end of the show, so stay tuned.
Cyrus, unfortunately, I think it's time for a commercial break.
But Allie, I just want to talk about sports more.
Don't worry, Cy. After the break, we've got everything you need to know about the men's basketball team's opening weekend.
Okay, I guess you're right. Plus, we have an inside scoop on our beloved Ralphie. Stay tuned.
It literally keeps falling.
Are all around campus, the Norland Quad, the Rec Center, the UMC, over by Farron Field, even in some res halls.
It's not just these words being repeated everywhere. It's really a description of the community and the people that you're going to be encountering in the next 4 years.
The creed is a value for the CU community. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to
act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors,
to respect the rights of others and accept our differences, contribute to the greater good of this community.
I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah, but I don't know where to start. That's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that Bran? Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
The heart and soul of CU and our fans are led by Ralphie, who runs before every football game. She pumps up the fans and the players and sets the tone of strength and power that encapsulates the Buffs. Hallie Jones looks into the past of the live mascot.
Arguably one of the greatest team entrances in college football is that of the University of Colorado's live mascot Ralphie and her handlers, who lead the team out before every home football game. Ralphie's handlers are a group of student athletes who pride themselves in the tradition of Colorado football and also rely on the football team's success to have their own postseason.
Yeah, we're super excited. Ralphie 5 gets to go to a bowl game for the first time. She's the only Ralphie who's not gone to a bowl game, so we're really excited that she gets to go to a bowl game this year.
Because the football team has recorded a winning season this year, they are guaranteed a spot in a postseason bowl game for the first time since 2007. Ralphie is scheduled to run at every home game and at the Rocky Mountain Showdown against CSU every year in Denver. But when the football team secures a bowl game, Ralphie and her handlers make sure she is prepared to lead the team to victory.
And, this year we're getting ready for 2 more awesome games and then, potentially trying to go on the road a couple times. So everyone's excited about an extra long season, a couple great runs out in California or Texas, wherever, just a new experience for everyone on the team.
None of Colorado's current players have experienced the preparation it takes to go to a bowl game, something they share in common with Ralphie 5 and her Division I athlete handlers.
All of our handlers are working hard in school. They're making sure that they're caught up. They are foremost students and then athletes, and so they're all working hard in their classes. We give them time to do that, to make sure that they are caught up and ready. If they need to take any time off of school, they check that, clear that with their professors before they consider doing that.
No matter which bowl game the Buffs write their ticket to, one thing is for sure. Ralphie will be there to lead the team to, hopefully, one last victory. Hallie Jones, News Team Boulder.
Last weekend, the men's basketball team began their season at home. They faced off against Sacramento State last Friday and Seattle last Monday. The team started this season as well as they could have, coming away with 2 victories. Friday night, they routed Sacramento State 90-53. A couple days later, the team played Seattle in a lower scoring game affair, beating the Redhawks 67-55. Before the season started, Tad Boyle said this could be one of the best teams he has coached at CU. And if the first 2 games are any indication, the definition was not kidding. The team's next game's over Thanksgiving break. They play Notre Dame Monday at 5 p.m. in Brooklyn, New York.
After the men's basketball season opener against Sacramento State, head coach Tad Boyle had a few things to say about his team's performance, especially with it being their first public performance since last March. This is what he had to say.
Well, I thought, for as home openers go, this was a good one. Certainly some areas where we can improve that you always look for in these kind of games, but really some nice things happened out there. And I told the team in the locker room after the game, the strength of this team, I think, is going to be the balance of this team, and I think our balance really showed tonight. Obviously our rebounding on the defensive end has to get better. 17 offensive rebounds is way too many. So I think our focus there has to be better. So some things to work on and improve, but overall, 20 assists, 10 turnovers, sharing the ball, a lot of unselfishness out there, played inside out offensively, a lot of good things.
Redshirt junior guard George King's mother was honored during the men's basketball team's home opener at the Veterans Day halftime ceremony. Senior Master Sergeant Tress King has served in the Air Force for over 25 years. She has been deployed 7 times and has received numerous promotions and commendations throughout her years. But her children had not had the opportunity to both be present during one of the ceremonies until Friday. The 8,322 fans in attendance gave Sergeant King a standing ovation, which she clearly deserved.
One of the big storylines of the opener was the much-anticipated debut of senior transfer Derek White. White, a Division II All-American before coming to Colorado, opened up his career and the season for the Buffaloes with a 3-pointer from the top of the key. The Buffs would not surrender that lead for the rest of the night. He finished with an efficient 9 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds in just 21 minutes of action. Tad Boyle said after the game, he's pretty special.
Colorado Buffaloes basketball team received some bad news this week when finding out point guard Dominic Collier fractured 2 bones in his foot and will be out for around 4 to 6 weeks. Collier, a junior this season, has played in 66 games and has scored 132 points for the team. He's been a consistent weapon for the Buffs and will be missed during his rehab. But if you're a glass half full type of person, this could create a great opportunity for freshman Bryce Peters to earn some more minutes.
The Buffs are headed to New York for Thanksgiving break for the final 2 games of the Legends Classic tournament in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. On Monday, the men play Notre Dame Fighting Irish in their first game of the week. In the semifinals, the victor of Monday's game will face off of the winner against Northwestern versus Texas game on Tuesday. Notre Dame and Colorado have never met each other in basketball games. And as of Thursday night, both teams are 2-0 on the year.
Don't think we're done with basketball just yet. After this very short commercial break, we'll be back to give you all the inside scoop on how the women's team played this weekend.
That's right, plus we have a few teams going into the postseason. Top 20 soccer team continues to be a threat, and the cross-country team is heading to Indiana this weekend. Stay tuned for all the details after the break.
Like I said earlier, we still have some more basketball to talk about. Mitchell Sanchez is in studio to give us the latest information on the women's basketball team and how they've started out their season. Take it away, Mitchell.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Mitchell Sanchez with this week's edition of Buff Banter. This year, the Colorado women's basketball team enters a new era with new head coach J.R. Payne. During her 16 years experience as an assistant and head coach, Payne has been in 4 conference championships and 6 postseason appearances. She is the 8th head coach in program history and previously coached the Southern Utah Thunderbirds and the Santa Clara Broncos, pulling each of them to their first winning records in 7 or more years. The underclassmen of the team are undoubtedly displaying potential on the court, and they have plenty of room to improve after 2 years of losing records, including their 7-23 record last year. Topping the individual statistics are sophomore guards Kennedy Leonard and Alexis Robinson. Last year, Leonard was named to the 2016 All-Freshman team by both Pac-12 coaches and the media and received an honorable mention to the All-Pac-12 team. When the Buffs recruited her, she was ranked as the 40th best player and the 9th best point guard in the nation by ProspectsNation.com. She averaged 12.1 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 4.6 assists last season. Robinson received an honorable mention to the Pac-12 All-Freshman team last year. As a freshman, she made the 3rd most steals and three-pointers, averaging 7.6 points and 3.2 rebounds. In the season opener win against Northern Colorado, Leonard scored a career-high 26 points. In that same game, Robinson scored 17, and in the next game against Air Force, she scored her new career high of 22 points. Both sophomores have surpassed their previous season averages so far. With a new coach and fresh team of players settling into the college athletic atmosphere, the Buffs are looking forward to a successful season from the women's basketball program. This has been Buff Banter with Mitchell Sanchez. Back to you at the desk.
The Colorado women's basketball team recently announced that the times for the Omni Classic will be changed due to an evening kickoff time for football. Next weekend, the Omni Classic is now set to be held November 25th and 26th at the Coors Event Center, beginning at 11 a.m. both days. On Friday, the Buffs will go up against St. Francis Brooklyn first followed by a matchup between Boston College and SMU at 1:30 p.m. Then on Saturday, the Buffs will play first against either SMU or Boston College, followed by St. Francis Brooklyn against one of the other two schools.
Every week, we like to pick two outstanding performers who've earned their privilege of being called our Athletes of the Week. And it's that time of the week again. This week, we'd like to highlight Erin Clark of the women's cross-country team and Phillip Lindsay from the football team. Erin Clark has led the #1 ranked Buffaloes all year, sporting a #1 finish in 3 out of the 4 varsity meetings, as well as a first-place finish in the Rocky Mountain Shootout. Phillip Lindsay has been a standout for the Buffs all year, and nicknamed Tasmanian Devil, ran the ball 25 times for 119 yards and 3 scores in Saturday's win over Arizona. Keep making us proud, guys.
Mark Wetmore, the head coach of the cross-country team, has just been named to the USTF CCCA Mountain Region Women's Coach of the Year. This is the 8th time Wetmore has won the award, and it's his 12th overall Coach of the Year honor. Last Friday, the Buffs won their 4th straight Mountain Region title, and back in October, they won their 2nd consecutive Pac-12 title. Both the women's and men's teams start the championships tomorrow in Indiana.
Going into the championships, both the cross-country teams are among the favorites to win, with the women's team ranked first and the men's team ranked second in the final USTF CCCA pool. It's the 3rd week in a row that women are ranked first. Last week, they defeated the reigning NCAA champions, New Mexico, by a whopping 74 points. The men's team placed second at regionals, finishing just 16 points behind Northern Arizona, the #1 team in the polls. Both teams started the championships tomorrow morning.
The cross-country squads are ready for the NCAA tournament this weekend in Terre Haute, Indiana. Both squads are among the favorites to win the tournament, which is probably not a surprise. The women's have been unanimous #1 in the polls for the last 2 weeks, and the men's are ranked second in the country. Both squads come into the meet having won the Pac-12 meet a couple weeks ago. Good luck to both of those teams, and bring back the title back to Boulder.
The #20 ranked women's soccer team beat Oklahoma State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. An old Big 12 rival, Oklahoma State, came to Boulder last week to face the Buffs with the hopes of keeping their season alive. The Buffs have a bit of luck in the first half and benefited from 2 first-half own goals to win the game 3-1. The Buffs improved their record to 15-5-1 this season, tying the record for most wins in a single season. Good luck to the team during the rest of the tournament.
This fall season has been one of the best sporting seasons in CU history, and this tweet of the week surely shows that.
That's right, Cyrus, but the season isn't over just yet. Christine Lambert has this weekend's sports schedule coming up next.
Rapid Fire's coming up with me, Christine Lambert, after the break, so make sure to stick around.
Just a second. We don't want to be at your party any more than you want us here.
What could we have done to avoid this?
Keep the noise down so no one complains.
Hey, guys, keep it down. The neighbors are complaining.
Make sure anyone drinking alcohol is at least 21.
You sure you're old enough?
And finally, make sure that you don't have too many people.
Man, that would have been easy. I wish I had known the rules. Now you know. Avoid trouble. Know the rules.
We want to see our children succeed. But setting easy goals for our kids creates the toughest obstacle they'll ever face. Because succeeding in the real world isn't easy. Help the effort to raise standards in America's public schools. Call 1-800-96-PROMISE.
This house was almost saved from a fire that was almost put out by neighbors who almost volunteered. As generous a nation as we are, sometimes instead of giving, we almost give. But almost giving is the same as not giving at all.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W. D-Y.
Take time to be a
One
dad
more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Welcome back, everyone. You've come back just in time for our hottest segment of the show, which is good with all the cold weather that we're finally getting. And you should know what I'm talking about. Rapid Fire, of course. We have Christine Lambert in the studio this week, so let's send it over to her. Take it away, Christine.
Welcome to this week's edition of Rapid Fire with me, Christine Lambert. Let's get started and dig right into the sports schedule this weekend. First up is volleyball. Volleyball has a double hit this weekend with matches tonight and Sunday. The Buffs will be taking on Washington in the Coors Event Center at 8 p.m. tonight. So make sure to block off some time to cheer the girls on. Moving on to Saturday, there is a lot going on. For one, both the men's and women's cross-country team will be at the NCAA Championship in Indiana. It has been a long run to get to this point, but the teams are feeling confident after their top 3 wins in the past few weeks. Now it's time to tackle the football game that is also on Saturday. Make sure not to pass on the opportunity to attend this game because it will be happening in Folsom Field at 1:30 p.m. And finally, Saturday night, you will want to dribble back on to the Coors Event Center for the women's basketball team's game against Kentucky. That game starts at 7 p.m., but shoot to get there early. All right, Buff fans, that is all the time I have for Rapid Fire this week. I'm Christine Lambert, and I'm going to kick it right back to the desk now.
Well, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. I hope you did your research because this week's trivia question was a tough one. Here's a refresher. We asked, which former Buffs quarterback who will call this weekend's game against Washington State on Fox was a walk-on freshman the last time the Buffs were a top 10 team? And the answer is Joel Klatt. Now Fox lead college football analyst, walk on to the Buffaloes in 2002. The next year, he would become the team's starting quarterback and would hold many of the school's passing records before he left.
This week's Tweet of the Week comes from Colorado Football on Twitter. And after the big win over Arizona last weekend, the Buffs are moving on up in the college football playoff ranking. And Wednesday, CU Football proudly tweeted the big moment for the Buffs. This is the first time that Colorado Buffaloes have been ranked in the top 10 during the season since 2001, making this week a huge milestone for the Buffs, who have been steadily rising in the rankings all season. So, Allie, how are you feeling about all the snow that we have started finding to get?
I'm not a fan at all. I was really enjoying the sunny skies and the clear grounds free of snow.
Are you even from Colorado?
Well, I'm not even from Colorado. I'm from Virginia, so we don't get that much snow. In fact, if we even get an inch, we don't have school for the day.
That's just sad. Well, I'm excited for the snow, just like I'm sure all of our viewers are, so we'll enjoy it for you.
All right, Cyrus, it's time for us to say goodbye to all of our lovely viewers.
What? Allie, I wasn't ready. I'm not ready to say goodbye to them. I won't do it.
But it's okay, Cyrus. We'll see them next show. We just have to wait until after Thanksgiving break.
That's too long. I don't want to wait to say goodbye to these people for 2 whole weeks.
But don't you want to go home and see your family and eat lots of turkey?
Oh, yeah, turkey. Okay. I guess I can say goodbye then.
Yes, goodbye, everyone. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.
I'm Cyrus Allen with Allie Monroy. Enjoy those turkeys, everyone.